All right, guys, this is episode 59. 59. This morning I thought it would be interesting to see the cards that I sold in February and March. I was curious on how they are holding up in the market. Now, overall, if we think of March, April, and May, the market's down a little bit. The peak of the market in the last 6 months was really the week that I started this channel. So when I look back at Card Ladder and Market Movers and all the platforms, the websites that track sales data, the week that I started, it was early February, is really where the peak of the mountain was in all the prices. Now, I have listed some BGS and PSA cards, all baseball. I sold them before the season started. Because what I've seen with trends is the players get hyped up through spring training, and then if they don't reach this superstar mega status performance-wise, then they come down. So I knew that with Soto, Betts, Cabrera, Acuna, I knew that not all of them would continue to rise. I also started selling a bunch when Chipper Jones cards went up. So one of the early videos in February that I made was realizing that the Chipper Jones PSA 10 prices went way up overnight. So I was sitting on a bunch of those that I purchased during the early months of the pandemic that I saw, like Topps cards. The PSA 10 Topps Chipper was like $50. Upper Decks were $30 for PSA 10 grades. So I bought a bunch of those. Then I saw that they jumped overnight. And I think they were being carried by the Jordan 91 Upper Deck baseball card. I think that brought up Chipper, which brought up the other Chipper Jones 91 rookies. So I just want to share with you, I was looking at Market Movers. So Market Movers and Sports Card Investor, they have a free app. I think it launched maybe February, March, about the same time I started the channel. It's fairly new. Let's start with Acuna, because Acuna, he's off to a hot start. He's got about 8-9 home runs, batting .350. He's been consistent. He's had a hot season from the start. He's avoided some injuries. So his card, so if you download the app, so the Ronald Acuna 2018 Topps Update, it is number 13 on the hot list for cards for baseball and 51 overall. So it's still a hot card. Now, I sold mine on February 19th for $120 each. I had a total of 13 or 14 Acuna Topps Update BGS 9.5s. So this was really the only card that I might have sold early, but you can't predict everything. The other cards I did pretty good on. So I sold them at $120, and actually the price just in the last couple of days actually got to that $120 mark anyways. And now the current market's at $146. It did reach pretty close to $200 for a while, but this is one card that if the person that bought this February 19th, and the same guy bought at least 12 of these from me, if he would have sold them after eBay fees, he probably could have made about $30 a piece if he sold them at that peak moment. Now, if he sold them right now, if the current price is $146, you'd be at that break-even point. So if you sold them today, for the guy, I think he spent $1,500 on 12 of those. If he were to sell them right now, after eBay fees, he would break even. If you sold them at a card show for $150, then you, depending on if you report and taxes, would do a little better. But that was one that actually has gone up. The Chipper Jones, so I'll start with the upper deck. The current market value is $100. It's down in the last 30 days, so I'm glad that I moved all my chippers. I think I may have sold the Chipper Jones at the perfect time. Pretty close to it, because 30 days ago, so April 9th, the upper deck did get up to 157. So it was on an upward climb. And then once the season started, then they came back down. This one should settle back around 70. I think $100 is still too high for this card. I was shocked that it got up as high as it did. But I think this one will settle in around 60 or 70. It shouldn't go much higher than that. The Topps card, I sold mine at 165. And again, I think that was pretty much the high part. These will settle down, I think, around 90. 80 to 90 seems like a good number for the Topps. And then Bowman. This is the only one that I see could go higher than it is right now. There's some big ups and downs there. Some of this could be when the auction ended. It could be if they're in the new slabs or the old slabs. That's why you get some of that volatility in the market. Volatility. You get it. So some ups and downs. This one I think should be about 100 to 110. So this is the only one that I see could settle down at a higher price. But I think it's gonna dip down, but it'll probably go up tomorrow. All right, Mookie Betts. I bought this card at $30. 30 bucks. PSA 9 Topps, 2014 Topps update. I sold it on March 6th for $320. This card sold recently at $190. So I sold it for $130 more than it did here. Mookie's off to a slow start. This one will come back up. I don't see it coming back up to that 320 mark. Okay, because all the hype was a really good season, World Series. That's why I sold it, because the hype, it was just too high for being, it was hyped too much. This one I think will come back to about 225, 250, but it's not coming back up to that 320 that I sold it at. I also sold the Miguel Cabrera at 510 or 511. So a month ago, there's a sale on April 10th for 510. I sold mine on March 6th for 511. Recent sale, 369, so that one has dropped significantly. I don't think anybody predicted Miguel Cabrera to have a good season. There's other players that could probably play better than him, accumulate more WAR in front of him, but some of the players like Pujols, Cabrera, although Pujols just got cut, they can stay a little bit longer in the league because they're kind of like having an extra coach on the bench. They bring their teammates up. So glad I sold this one, 511. Big difference. The last one that I have here, Juan Soto. He just came back from injury. So I thought about buying some cards here because I knew he eventually would come back from his injury. I just never pulled the trigger on that. I'm trying to stay away from the high pop cards like Topps Update. Like those were my go-to for a while. I'm more intrigued, I think, with Topps Heritage at this point. But there's other things I'm looking at. Like I'd rather look at autographs and other sets than the flagship Topps right now. So I sold mine at $228 on February 19th, which is pretty close to when the season started, what they were going for. But then they dipped a lot during injury. If you just buy when players get injured, you could do pretty well. All right, that's it. I just thought I'd give a market update. I looked for the Manny Machado autograph first Bowman refractor number to 500, but I couldn't find any comps recently. There wasn't a whole lot of BGS 8.5s, so I was looking for a comp for that. I couldn't find it. The BGS 9.5s have gone down a little bit, but yeah, a little different in the video today. If you haven't downloaded Market Movers, this is a free app. I've mentioned before with this app, I use it more to tell me when to sell rather than when to buy. Now, if you get the full market movers, you can look more at trends and you can use that to predict kind of when to buy. But I use the hot list, so the top 50 cards. I look at that every single day to kind of see what cards are people looking to purchase at that time. I haven't exactly found why some cards are listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it's the guys people that work at Market Mover, Sports Card Investor, that kind of manipulate the market a little bit. Because I've seen Michael Porter Jr. is really high on the list consistently, but his cards aren't moving in price. So I don't know if it's the amount of cards that are sold that is influencing the ranking, or if it's just people that work there that are influencing the market somehow. I don't know exactly. But yeah, if you haven't downloaded it yet, do, because it is an awesome free tool. And I'm surprised that 4 months in, it's still free. I truly assumed that after a month or two, they would start charging. So it's free now. Use it while it's free. Like any business, they're going to try to make money off it eventually. Probably $5 a month, I assume, but we'll see. Right now it's free. Go download it. All right, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.